is A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 4. This scene begins with Demetrius, Lysander, Hermia, and Helena all asleep in the forest glade. Titania enters with Bottom. She is still very much in love with him. After several exchanges where Bottom continually makes a fool of himself, Titania eventually asks him to put his head in her lap and fall asleep, and together they fall asleep in the forest glade. And into this happy scene walk Oberon and Puck. Oberon tells Puck that everything is going exactly according to his plan. He met Titania earlier in the woods, and he offered to remove the spell from her in exchange for the changeling that they had been fighting about earlier, if you recall. Oberon, having had his fun, now removes the love spell from Titania's eyes and wakes her up. She is startled to find herself sleeping with the ass-headed Bottom and tells them that she has had the strangest dream. Oberon promises to listen to it very sympathetically. He calls for some music, the two of them make up, and Oberon and Titania leave the scene. And Puck decides he's also had enough, so he removes the ass's head from Nick, and then Puck also leaves the scene. At this point, Theseus, Hippolyta, Aegeus, and other attendants enter. They have gone out hunting as part of the wedding festivities. They don't see Nick, but they do notice Lysander, Hermia, Demetrius, and Helena all sleeping together in the glade. When they wake them up, they ask, "What happened?" And neither of the four lovers can really clearly describe what happened, but what they do know for sure is that Demetrius now loves Helena, and Lysander still loves Hermia. Theseus declares that this should be a happy day, and as there is no longer any disagreement between Aegeus and Demetrius and Lysander, that Hermia should be allowed to marry Lysander, and Demetrius should be allowed to marry Helena. Everyone now leaves for Athens, except for Nick Bottom, who is still sleeping in the forest glen. But eventually he wakes up and realizes he's had the most amazing dream, and decides he needs to rush back to Athens so he can tell the others. Meanwhile, back in Athens at the home of Peter Quince, the workers are dejected and sad. Many of them believe that Bottom has been eaten by the strange creature that they saw in the forest, although Robin Starveling, the tailor and youngest of the crew, theorizes that the fairies probably enchanted Bottom. Snug asks Peter Quince if they should carry on with the play, but Quince says, "Without Bottom, how could they possibly go on? No one is as intelligent or witty. No one could possibly play the part of Pyramus, except for Nick Bottom." At this point, who should enter the house but Nick Bottom? He explains to them that he's had this wondrous experience in the forest. And the other workers are congratulating him, saying, "What happened? What happened? Tell us the story." But Nick says, "There's no time to explain. The Duke has gotten married, and two other noble couples have gotten married. Presumably this is Demetrius and Helena, and Lysander and Hermia. If we hurry, we can still do the play." So the workers rush out, and that is how Act 4 ends.